Today we'll share 5 real stories where seeking the perfect shot turned deadly. From deadly falls to fatal accidents, these tragic events show the dangers of taking selfies in risky places. Join us as we uncover the shocking and unfortunate details of these incidents and remind everyone to be cautious when capturing images. On December 5, 2017, in Lubinsk, a city in southwestern Russia, 26-year-old Alexander Sasha Chechik found himself in a dangerous situation. Sasha, known for his adventurous nature, decided to pose with a live hand grenade and share the experience with his friends. In a moment that would turn fatal, he pulled the pin from the grenade and began taking pictures. Sasha sent these photos to several friends, showing him holding the grenade with the pin removed. He appeared calm in the images, but his actions were extremely risky. When one of his friends received the photo, they quickly responded with concern. The friend asked, "Where are you? Are you okay?" Sasha replied ambiguously, saying, "Depends on what okay is in your understanding." The friend, alarmed, urged him not to do anything foolish and asked again where he was. However, Sasha did not heed the warning. Despite what Sasha may have believed, a grenade with the pin removed is highly unstable. It doesn't need to be thrown to explode. The pin is the safety mechanism that prevents detonation. Once it's removed, the grenade becomes a ticking time bomb. Shortly after the exchange with his friend, the grenade exploded. The blast was devastating, killing Sasha instantly. The explosion caused severe injuries, which were captured in a graphic police photograph. The image showed the extent of the destruction, making it clear that Sasha had died on the spot. When the police arrived, they quickly secured the scene and began investigating. The Russian investigative committee took over, treating the incident as an accident rather than a self-murder. Their investigation focused on how Sasha had acquired the grenade, as such items are illegal for civilians to possess. Local news quickly covered the tragic event. Reports included the details of the text messages and the photos Sasha had sent before the explosion. One news source noted that Sasha had sent these images to multiple friends, further indicating that he did not intend to kill himself. It seemed he was showing off without fully understanding the danger. In one of the texts, Sasha's friend, concerned after seeing the photo, urged him, "Listen, don't around, where are you?" Unfortunately, Sasha never responded to this urgent message. The silence left many wondering what was going through his mind during those final moments. The investigation revealed that Sasha had not managed to reinsert the pin after pulling it out. This failure meant the grenade was set to explode, which it did shortly after the pin was removed. This tragic mistake cost Sasha his life. Authorities also looked into the issue of how Sasha had obtained the grenade. The illegal trafficking of weapons in Russia has been a known problem, with various illegal routes bringing military-grade equipment into civilian hands. This incident shows the serious risks associated with such illegal activities. For Sasha's friends and family, the incident was a shocking and heartbreaking loss. He was remembered as a young man full of life, often seen joking and enjoying his time. His decision to handle a live grenade was a fatal error, leading to a deadly outcome. This incident reminds us of the dangers of handling explosives. Even if someone seems confident or playful, the reality is that these are dangerous items that should be treated with extreme caution. Sasha's tragic death raises important questions about the availability of such weapons and the responsibilities of individuals in dangerous situations. It was a warm day in 2015 in Iasi, a city in northeastern Romania. Ana Ursu, an 18-year-old high school student, was out with her friend. Like many teenagers of her time, Ana was fascinated with social media and loved capturing moments to share online. This day, however, would turn tragic as Anna's desire for the perfect photo led to a fatal accident. Ana and her friend had decided to visit a local train station. The station was relatively quiet, with most trains stationary. It was an ideal spot for the teenagers to explore and find unique places for their photos. Ana wanted to take what she called the ultimate selfie, a photograph that would stand out on her Facebook profile. She envisioned a daring shot perched high atop a train. For Ana, it wasn't just about the photo, but about capturing a moment that would wow her friends and followers. The two girls climbed onto the roof of a stationary train. They laughed and joked, their spirits high as they prepared to take the photo. Ana decided on a pose where she lay on her back with one leg raised in the air. She thought it would make for a dramatic shot. Unfortunately, Anna was unaware of the danger present just above her. Above the train were high-voltage cables carrying an immense electrical charge. As Anna struck her pose, her raised leg came dangerously close to the wires. Although she never physically touched them, she entered the electrical field surrounding the wires. The voltage in these cables was a staggering 27,000 volts, far beyond what the human body can withstand. In an instant, the electrical field discharged into Anna's body. Witnesses nearby saw a horrifying scene unfold. A passerby who had been walking near the station noticed the girls on top of the train. He called out to them, warning them to be careful and to keep their heads and legs down, but his warnings went unheard. Just moments after his shout, there was a loud bang. Anna's body had become a conduit for the deadly electrical charge, so strong that flames erupted from her clothing. The force of the electrical discharge was so powerful that it threw Anna's friend off the train roof. She landed on the ground, injured but alive. Meanwhile, Anna was on fire, the intense heat consuming her clothes and skin. The passerby, realizing the severity of the situation, acted quickly. Despite the risk to his own life, he scrambled onto the train, trying desperately to extinguish the flames engulfing Anna. He used his hands and clothing to try to smother the fire, but it was too late. Emergency services were called, and Anna was rushed to the hospital. The burns covered more than 50% of her body. The medical team worked frantically to save her, but the damage was too severe. The electricity had not only burned her skin, but it also caused deep internal injuries. After a short fight for her life, Anna succumbed to her injuries. Her friend, who had been thrown from the train, was also taken to the hospital. She survived, suffering from minor burns and shock. In her statements to the police, she recounted how they had simply wanted to take a memorable photo. They had not thought about the danger overhead. The idea of capturing the ultimate selfie had overshadowed any concerns about safety. The passerby who tried to save Anna was left shaken by the experience. He had been out for a walk when he saw the two girls on top of the train. Aware of the potential danger from the electrical wires, he had tried to warn them. His actions in attempting to extinguish the flames were heroic, but even he could not prevent the tragedy. The aftermath of the incident left a deep scar on the community. Anna's family and friends were devastated. The tragic incident became a story showing the risks associated with the increasingly popular trend of taking selfies in dangerous locations. The temptation of social media fame and the desire to stand out had led to a fatal miscalculation. It was a warm night on August 9, 2015, in Villaseca de la Sagra, a small town near Toledo, Spain. David Lopez, a 32-year-old resident of Villasequilla, had decided to attend the annual bull run with his friends. The atmosphere was electric, with crowds gathering to witness the daring event. David, known for his love of capturing moments on his mobile phone, had never participated in bull runs, but was drawn by the excitement and the opportunity to film something extraordinary. Around 1:40 a.m., David and his friends found a spot behind the metal barriers, a protected area designed to keep spectators safe from the charging bulls. The event had already started, and the bulls were released, running through the streets in a chaotic display of power and tradition. As the bulls raced past, David noticed a collision between two of the massive animals. One of the bulls appeared to fall unconscious, lying motionless on the ground. David saw an opportunity to capture a unique video. Ignoring the safety warnings and the protective barriers, he stepped out into the open street to get a closer shot of the fallen bull. His friends watched nervously as David focused on his mobile screen, oblivious to the dangers around him. As David filmed the scene, another bull, unnoticed by him, charged towards his back. The bull, agitated and powerful, collided with David, tossing him into the air. The crowd gasped in horror as they saw David spinning like a puppet, unable to regain his footing. The bull gored him repeatedly, striking his neck and thigh with deadly force. The scene was chaotic. Spectators screamed, and some tried to distract the bull, but it was too late. David lay on the ground, severely injured. The first responders rushed to his aid, providing emergency medical attention right there in the bull ring. David was then transported to Hospital Virgen de la Salud in Toledo, where doctors worked frantically to save his life. He received 2 liters of blood and underwent emergency surgery to stabilize a massive wound in his throat. Despite their best efforts, David succumbed to his injuries around 6 a.m. David's death shocked the community. He was a familiar face in Villasequilla, living with his grandfather and an uncle, and doing odd jobs to make ends meet. 2 summers ago, he had worked as a lifeguard at the local swimming pool. His friends and family were devastated by the tragic loss. The town's mayoress, Elena Fernandez, expressed her sorrow, describing David's death as a tragic and stupid accident. She emphasized that David had never been a participant in the bull runs and had simply made a fatal decision to film the event from an unsafe location. Jesus Hijosa, the mayor of Villaseca de la Sagra, also urged caution. "This sends shivers down our spine," he said. "We organize these events as a tradition so that people can enjoy them, but these things happen. Bulls are dangerous animals, and when there are a lot of people, some don't pay attention. You have to have your wits about you." The rest of the festival was immediately suspended out of respect for David and his grieving family. The incident sparked a conversation about the dangers of modern technology and the risks people take to capture moments on their mobile phones. It was a quiet night on May 31, 2014, near Denver, Colorado. Amrit Pal Singh, a 29-year-old pilot, was at the controls of his Cessna 150K. Singh, an enthusiastic aviator, often took friends for short flights around the area. On this night, his passenger was Jatinder Singh, a 31-year-old musician in town for a concert. The flight was supposed to be a routine joyride, but it ended in a tragedy that stunned the community. Amrit Pal Singh had a habit of documenting his flights. He mounted a GoPro camera on the plane's windshield, capturing moments with various passengers. The GoPro recorded multiple flights, showing Singh and his passengers taking selfies, even using the flash function during nighttime flights. These recordings, though not capturing the fatal flight, provided critical insights into the events leading to the crash. Shortly after midnight, Singh's Cessna 150K took off from Front Range Airport in Adams County. It was a clear night, but the dark conditions required heightened awareness and precision. The Cessna climbed steadily into the sky. Singh, familiar with the route, began what should have been a straightforward flight. As the plane ascended, something went wrong. The GoPro camera did not record the fatal flight, but the patterns from previous recordings painted a clear picture. Singh had a tendency to take selfies during flights, often using his cell phone's flash. Investigators believe this habit carried over into the final flight. Around 12:10 a.m., just minutes after takeoff, the plane lost control. Singh, likely disoriented by the flash from his cell phone, struggled to regain control. The plane descended rapidly, crashing into a wheat field. The impact was devastating, killing both Amritpal and Jatinder instantly. The wreckage was discovered around 7:30 a.m., about 7 hours after the crash. The plane was found in a mangled state, having bounced once before coming to rest upright in the field. The National Transportation Safety Board, or NTSB, immediately launched an investigation. The NTSB's report detailed how the use of cell phones during flights distracted Singh. The flash from the camera likely caused spatial disorientation, a condition where a pilot loses the ability to determine their position relative to the Earth. This disorientation led to an aerodynamic stall and subsequent spin into the terrain. Based on evidence of the pilot using a cell phone during low-altitude flying, including just before the crash, it is likely that using the phone during the crash flight distracted the pilot. This distraction may have caused spatial disorientation and led to the pilot losing control, the report stated. Further examination of the wreckage revealed no pre-impact mechanical failures. The crash was solely attributed to pilot error, made worse by distraction. Singh's logbook showed he had 726 total flight hours, with only 27 hours of nighttime flying experience. He lacked certification for flying at night with instruments and for carrying passengers at night, which shows his limited preparedness for such conditions. This tragic incident underscored the dangers of distraction in aviation. Federal rules prohibit commercial pilots and crew from using cell phones or personal electronic devices during critical phases of flight, such as takeoff and landing, or when below 10,000 feet. However, these rules are less strict for private pilots. While private pilots are barred from dangerous or careless behavior, specific regulations about cell phone use are not as clear-cut. The Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, expects pilots to operate safely and prohibits careless or reckless operation. However, many private pilots use their phones or iPads for navigation and communication, a practice that can lead to distractions if not managed properly. Tony Moreno, a flight instructor with Rocky Mountain Flight School, emphasized the importance of maintaining focus during critical phases of flight. Why take a picture at that critical moment of flight? Why disrupt your concentration on the really critical tasks at that important moment? Moreno questioned. The NTSB's findings led to discussions about the need for stricter regulations regarding the use of personal electronic devices by private pilots. The evidence suggested that Singh's distraction, disorientation, and lack of adequate night flying training combined to cause the crash. The tragic loss of life tells us about the critical need for awareness and adherence to safety protocols. It was late at night on January 24, 2022, in Lost Dutchman State Park, Arizona. Richard Jacobson, a 21-year-old from Mesa, Arizona, was camping with a friend on the Flatiron Summit in the Superstition Mountains. Richard was an avid outdoorsman who loved hiking, hunting, and exploring new places. He'd been looking forward to this trip for a long time. As the clock went near midnight, Richard and his friend, whose name remains undisclosed, decided to take some photos to capture the stunning nighttime view. The Flatiron Summit is known for its challenging terrain and breathtaking views, making it a popular spot for hikers and photographers. Richard, excited to capture the city skyline in the background, walked to the edge to take a selfie. Shortly after midnight, as Richard positioned himself for the perfect shot, he lost his footing. The ground beneath him gave way and he slipped, falling an estimated 700 feet to the ground below. His friend, witnessing the horrifying incident, immediately called 911 at around 12:45 a.m., desperately hoping for a miracle. Sergeant Doug Peeble from the Pinal County Sheriff's Office Search and Rescue Team led the investigation and rescue efforts. He explained, "Mr. Jacobson went to take a photograph with himself and the city skyline in the background, and he lost his footing and slipped." Peeble said that there were no signs of foul play or drug use involved. It was a tragic accident. The Arizona Department of Public Safety quickly dispatched a helicopter to assist with the recovery operation. The rough terrain made the recovery challenging, but the team managed to locate Richard's body later that day, approximately 700 feet below where he had fallen. His friend was airlifted from the mountain, distraught and in shock. Richard Jacobson was well known among his friends and family for his kind personality. Andrew Thomas, a close friend who had spent time with Richard on a missionary trip in 2020, shared his memories of Richard with the media. "I spent all my waking hours with Richard, so I got to know him pretty well," Thomas said. "He was an outdoorsman, hunter, hiker. He did stuff like that, so I guess he died doing what he loved, just in a tragic way." Thomas described Richard as someone who treated everyone with respect and had a great sense of humor. "He really was one of those guys that everyone loved, and it's sad to lose him, but we know that it's not the end," Thomas added. "We're going to see him again." The tragic accident at Flatiron Summit tells us about the dangers that can come with outdoor adventures. The Siphon Draw Trail, one of the most popular routes to Flatiron Peak, is known for its steep and rocky terrain. Hikers often encounter rock slides and other hazards, making it a challenging hike that requires caution and focus.